Welcome to Midcard Maniacs. I'm Jay.
And I'm John.
And today we're discussing Big Money Matt. Is he buying his way to the top? Or is he selling himself short? Yeah. Matt Hardy has had an interesting career in AEW so far, because he's kind of fluctuated, much like his career in general in wrestling. But he's now settled on Big Money Matt. Went from kind of an auxiliary manager of Private Party to now an actual manager of Private Party, as we've seen in the contract signing with Snoop Dogg standing there awkwardly. We've also seen Big Money Matt sitting ringside watching Adam Page. We don't know what his goal is here, but it seems like he's trying to play the $1 million man and buy a stable for himself and maybe elevate his own portfolio in the process.
Definitely this is gonna be like a modern day $1 million man. Like if there's anyone who could do it, it's gonna be Matt, because he's very good at gimmick characters. In this one, it has just such a good ring to it. You can say like Big Money Matt and it rolls off your tongue. The fact that he already has Private Party, who are now like heels. That's what's interesting about this. We went from like, what, a month ago, 2 months ago, they were like baby faces, and all of a sudden now they're like the baddest of the bads. It's interesting how money can corrupt the mind.
So some acquisitions for him. If I had the money and I'm looking at the AEW roster, I think in a very similar suit, I'd probably want another tag team and maybe one really big like star. And I think the other tag team would be the Acclaimed. Rappers love fucking money. And if Matt's got the money, the rappers are flocking to it. And looking at it from an outside perspective, AEW loves doing like 4v4. Just because they want to get a lot of people on TV all the time. Private Party aren't very good at promos. I think they could use some work. Acclaimed are fantastic at it. I think it's a great pairing to just, if they wanted to all come out together, that would be great.
I think it would be so good if they were like rolling out, sipping on Ciroc, things like that. Just like dropping all those like key notes and all those lines. And you know what? If you really want Snoop Dogg involved in this whole thing, why not have him coming around, like joining in on the fun?
Right, you got the gin and juice from Private Party, and you've got the gin and juice from Snoop Dogg and the Acclaimed. The whole vibe just works together. Like, if anything, Matt is the odd one out, but hey, if you look at the rap game in general, it's some weird white guy with a bunch of money at the top of the chain anyway, so why the hell not put it on AEW?
As funny as it is comparing it, he needs a Sammy Guevara, like what Jericho had in the Inner Circle, and I think when we look at what was happening in the Page versus Namath match, I think he's going for little baby Ryan, baby Dolph.
The Hollywood hunk himself?
Yeah, I think that's who he's gonna purchase, because he can see him as like kind of a yes man.
And when you think of people with money, you think of money, power, respect, and you think of good looks, especially in this Instagram era that we have, which is obviously something that Private Party kind of caters to with their whole VIP rope and all that stuff. If anyone's getting into a Private Party and a club, it's this handsome young Ryan Nemeth.
Yeah, and it would be kind of funny considering that his brother Dolph is like the show off, and then you have like him in AEW as their like sex icon character.
Okay, so that was a one-off situation. Is there somebody else that's a little bit more permanent that's actually on the AEW roster currently that we could work in here?
Easily, Kip Sabian.
You're right. And he comes equipped with his new wife, Penelope Ford, who would easily get into any club that you'd want to put out. So like any Private Parties, Penelope Ford's getting in, and Kip Sabian, he's just so smooth. If Ricky Stark wasn't part of the baddest fucking stable in AEW, he would easily be here, but maybe later. Maybe Team Taz breaks up at some point and Ricky Stark comes in being super suave, dabbing and shit.
But think about this though, you get Kip Sabian, you get Penelope Ford, but because they're already packaged with Miro technically as like the best man, when Big Money Matt is going in there, he's like, well, I don't know if I really want you, Miro. And then Miro's like, man, come on, I got my own butler. I'm all about the dollar bills, y'all.
Oh God.
It has to be lame. You know that.
No, I know it's gonna be lame, but like we now have another squadron that's the size of goddamn Dark Order. So we're gonna have this Baller House club.
Can you imagine that's what they call it? The Baller House?
The Baller House. Welcome to the Baller House. Sorry, I was just talking shit. On our other channel, in our Patreon, we call it the Baller Club. So maybe that's what it is. Welcome to the Baller Club.
I feel as though if we're talking about people that Matt Hardy is gonna buy, definitely I agree with the Acclaimed. I think start off small, go with the Acclaimed, just having him as that figure, coming in and doing a couple matches here and there, it would be entertaining.
I think in addition to this, it also opens up the opportunity to something that we see in AEW a lot, which is bringing in celebrity guests. With the Acclaimed and with Private Party and Matt Hardy all together, AEW now has some leverage to get popular rappers in here. If they wanted to get, obviously, maybe not somebody like 50 Cent, but they could get, you know, reasonable size rap. I mean, we had Snoop Dogg, but we could get other rappers as well to kind of come in to just be on the sidelines because they're friends and Matt's got the money so he can pay for this kind of stuff. If I was a rapper from the outside and they're like, oh, we want you in AEW and you're coming out with Matt Hardy, a name that you like, you know, I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah. I want to come out with Matt Hardy from the Hardy Boys.
Okay, but I'm trying to, you know, maybe do some structural accounting.
Who would you slide out and like tag team with?
It would be the Hardy Boys.
So I think there is a lot of opportunity for just like cheap pops down the line if they like ran with this for a bit. And I am all for it.
Can I just say, going back to like Matt needing like a sidekick or something like that, I would like to see pretty Peter Avalon throw his hat in to Matt to be like, sell himself because he's so beautiful.
I think that it would be funnier and probably more accurate if he consistently is trying to be a part of the stable but never becomes it.
I know, he's just like, guys, I'm beautiful.
I'm
please.
exactly what you're looking for. Look at me. I'm this stud. I've got this glass. I've got this heart-shaped bed. I'm pretty.
Can you just, yeah, because he's like swirling his glass around. Meanwhile, like the Acclaimed and Private Party are just like sipping their drinks and just partying down. He's like, guys, I know how to party. Look at my like room.
Yeah, it would add to some excellent segments of him just trying to get in. It writes itself. What do you guys think of our ideas? They're wacky, they're wild. It probably will not come to fruition, but this is fantasy booking at its finest, I feel. Let us know your fantasy booking situation with Big Money Matt in the comments. Like this video, and if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Midcard Maniacs.